Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn connects you with experts from all over the world to help you take charge of your career, your business, and your life. Rap along with us. Visit drjacalyn.com to learn how to become a guest or a sponsor. And now, the doctor is in.
Hello and welcome. We are so happy to have you here. You are watching Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn, celebrate Great Britain Royally Rich Show. And guess what? We've got a new YouTube channel, USA Today. Oh my gosh, USA Global TV. I'm so excited that I messed up the name. Anyway, we are thrilled to have you. I am your host, executive producer, director, and broadcast engineer, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. My co-host is the great Cini. And the stars of our show are Ian Pelham Turner and Helena Chard. And they've got some great guests for us today. So let's bring out the troops. Here we have Mr. Cini. Hello, welcome.
Dr. Jacalyn, it's great to see you. And USA Global TV, what a great idea.
Yes, it is a great idea. We have to give thanks to the person or persons who came up with it, who are here with us today. So we're very excited. Let's bring them out. Ian and Helena. Hello, welcome.
Hi guys. Lovely to see you.
Hi Ian, hi Helena.
Hi, it's great to see you guys.
So we're at fever pitch today.
We are.
We're at fever pitch today. The whole nation, well, England anyway. And I need to ask Simon in Scotland whether he supported England as well. Normally there's a little bit of rivalry between our two nations when it comes to soccer. But today, England is going for glory and hopefully through to the finals of the European Cup. So the whole of the England nation is, wherever I've been walking, everybody's wearing traditional English soccer outfits, apart from myself, partly because I couldn't find one that would fit me anyway.
My soccer outfit is also at the cleaners.
So here in the UK, something like 30 million people to watch the Euros because it's the semi-finals, so everyone's really excited. But actually, they've been saying that the feel-good factor, fingers crossed we win, is actually going to unleash a historic spending spree of something like 10 billion, which is going to obviously bring more money to the economy. So we're really, really hopeful. I mean, I love the fact it's really celebrating. I'm not personally a great football fan, but I can see that it's a fabulous thing.
Really
so fingers crossed.
Good.
I love that. I'd like to get involved in the spending spree myself if I could. I'd like to help you.
I think we would like it. Do you know what? Apparently, we're something like 200 billion in excess savings people have got in the UK. Which they saved during the pandemic, which is pretty good. not me. That's fabulous. Oh, I want to spend, I want to spend.
There's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with it. I think it's going to be a great time at the moment. This is a very historic month as well for England and really Great Britain at the same time. On the 19th, hopefully we come out of lockdown. I'm not sure that the government really knows what it's doing, but hey-ho, it is what it is right now. And it will mean a lot more freedom for people at the moment. And we'll see how things sort of happen after that day. Yeah.
I personally think it's yes, and then we're going to suddenly, we've got to take it as it comes, I guess. But it's exciting. So we've seen lots of. We're going to keep news very, very simple today. Beginning with, I think people have seen. So Her Majesty, the Queen, has given out the George's Cross, which is really, really, really fantastically important, and it's gone to our health service in the UK. She delivered it wasn't delivered, but it was given by a handwritten letter. And it's in tribute to courage and compassion, dedication of all the staff, which obviously which is lovely. And it's also the 73rd anniversary of the NHS. So it's
a big deal.
That is a big deal.
It's a really big deal. And we have, another thing as well for any avid chef. So the Royals are always looking for staff, and at the moment, Her Majesty the Queen is hiring and she is looking for the next royal chef. Actually, a demi chef de partie. I believe, if everyone can help me there, I think that's probably cakes and scones and things like that. But willing to join her on her trip. So based at Buckpal, but also be a chef at Holyrood Palace, and also Balmoral in Scotland.
Yeah.
Wow, that's exciting.
I personally might be going for it, but I mean, I'm sure they'll get loads of people. They're looking for professional chefs. Hence the reason I would never go for something like that.
Well,
Does that include Cini, who might be professional chef also?
I am.
I imagine you are. Which is great.
That's a discovered skill.
And we have loads of things to talk about, but actually one thing I want to say, and I just learned that a few hours ago. So Jimmy Carter and Rosalind Carter, so the former US presidential couple, they are celebrating 75 years of marriage.
Wow.
Today. So I was told he was the 39th president. I'm not too sure if that's right, but I think that's incredible, isn't it? I think that he was just before Reagan, before my time. But yeah, great. And I know the Bidens visited at the end of April, and they're doing well. So all celebratory.
I think didn't Carter have the name Peanuts, or am I getting the nicknames changed?
Peanuts. I have no idea. I know he was Jimmy Carter.
Al, do you have information on that?
Who, me?
Yeah, you're a great history buff.
Well, that might be an area that I haven't studied, but I'm
me either.
I'm anxious to learn more about it. 75 years married sounds pretty much like a life sentence to me.
I only made it 6.
I was quite shocked. Anyway, we've got loads of news, but we have some fabulous guests, and I think we should move swiftly on to our wonderful guests.
Looking forward to that. Great people.
Absolutely.
We are too.
So we're going to begin with our lovely Simon MacDonald, who we all know. He's a regular. He's our Scotland correspondent, full of fizz and fabulous, and we love him.
Drum roll, please. Simon MacDonald. Woo! Welcome.
Hi, everybody. Nice to be back. It's interesting in what you're saying there, Helena, about looking for a royal chef. I'm just filling out the application form right now. Actually, there's a bit of past history of me there, because I used to supply the royal household with smoked salmon and smoked cream cheese when I had my smoking business in the west of Scotland. And I have actually cooked for most of the royal family at some time or other as well. So. And Dr. Jacalyn have cooked for 3 of your US presidents too, so just to keep everything balanced.
That was great.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Great.
And they're all still alive.
Wow.
I can't wait for you to cook for me and cook for Al. Come over here to the States.
Okay, what time does the plane go?
I want to go there. The fish is fresher.
Good point.
It is over here. It's jumping out the sea here, giving itself up just now.
So, Simon, I know we have some questions we want to ask you, but I love that top that you're wearing. Can you give us just a little bit of information about that?
Right. I shall work from the top all the way down. I'll give you a twirl in a second. It's called a ghillie shirt. Now, the Scots, of course, were worn kilts for many a year. They used to fight in their shirts. Actually, they still do in the pubs now. But the ghillie shirt, it's quite a long shirt, and it was like everyday wear. The kilt was originally a big square piece of tartan cloth, which they would wrap themselves around. They could sleep in it at night as a blanket, but they wear it during the day as the kilt. But a bit cumbersome to fight in the battle, so they'd take the kilt off, which would scare people straight away anyway, knowing what a Scotsman is supposed to wear or not supposed to wear underneath. And they'd fight in the shirt. There was a famous battle actually called the Battle of the Shirts. So there we go. But I'll just stand up and give you a wee twirl. And
wow, look at that.
Very nice.
MacDonald of Clanranald which is my clan kilt. I have the ski and do, which translated means the Black Death. I won't tell you why, but it's a very sharp implement. You've got to be very careful how you put it down your socks, otherwise you have one leg shorter than the other. And then the sporran is where we keep our money, or a little hip flask and a little dram of whiskey. And then I have here a traditional dirk. Now, the dirk is another fighting blade. And in case I'm hungry, and because I am a chef as well, we're fully prepared. And the shoes themselves are called ghillie shoes, and brogue shoes that we wear today all originated from the ghillie shoe, because the idea was that the ghillie, who's somebody that assists people on the hill when they're going out hunting, or in the river when they're fishing, and the brogue of the shoes was supposed to be a holes going right the way through the leather, so it would let the water out, so you weren't walking about and wading at the same time. So that's where brogue shoes originated from the Scottish ghillie shoe.
Wow, that, for me anyway, that explains a lot. And I'm imagining you would probably ring every bell at the airport.
I'm not popular there, definitely not. I remember having great difficulty at the American Embassy in London one night. I was doing a big charity night for them, and trying to get past the front door, wearing my ski and do in my sock. And but I had to explain, it's part of our national dress, and as such, fully entitled to wear it wherever. And I assured I was coming on friendly terms. We have, after all, America and the UK have been friends for a long, long time. I hope it continues to go on that way. So they sort of eventually, after a number of phone calls, up to the defense attaché included, they decided to let me in.
Wow.
Well, it's quite a handsome outfit. I think just from a practicality standpoint, I think the placement of that bag in the front is kind of interesting, because if you're walking, start slamming
it offers additional protection as well, shall we say. It's almost impossible to lift a kilt up at the back. The material itself is very heavy. And I hasten to add, it has natural air conditioning, so that's fine. But the way the pleats are made at the back, if you try lifting up a corner of the kilt, then all you're seeing is a load of pleats tumbling down. So very difficult to look under a Scotsman's kilt. Not many of them would let you do it anyway, unless your insurance was fully paid up.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I had no idea.
Yeah, well, there we are. And we do wear it sometimes. Oddly enough, I wore it more when I was overseas than I do in Scotland. But I love wearing it. It's so comfortable. It's so practical. I think this one actually shrunk a little bit. It's a while since I've worn it. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
In New York these days, it'd be survival wear on the subway.
Yes. Yeah. The expression "the full 9 yards" comes from the kilt, because there's 9 yards of material in the kilt. So hence the reason I explained about the pleats at the back. So if you get kicked in the backside, it doesn't hurt. You just don't even know about it.
It's got to be quite warm, I would think, though, isn't it?
Well, on a cold day, it is very warm. On a warm day, as I say, it's got natural air conditioning, so it's got the best of both worlds.
All season wear, it sounds like.
Absolutely, yes.
Very nice. I think we're going to take a quick break and hear from our sponsors, and then come back for the interview. How's that sound, guys?
Great.
Sounds good.
Okay, lovely. Stay with us. We will be right back.
The session that we had with BCAT was really entertaining and enlightening. We were able to put together some very specific steps that we as individuals can take, and it was really fun to all come together and see sort of where we're going as a team and how we can all get there together.
We had a tremendous experience with the BCAT partners. One of the challenges that we have as an organization is to make sure that we have the right people in the right chairs doing the right thing. To do that well, you have to have synergy. You can try to dream up ways to make sure that your group does that, or you can rely on experts. We would recommend BCAT partners to anybody who's looking to take their organization to the next level.
Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to Story Garden. Your host, Diane Boehm. I'm so happy to have you here today.
Diane Floyd Boehm tells wonderful stories that warm the heart, spark the imagination, and unite people and families across generations. For children, Diane's Harry the Camel connects with all of us who've ever wondered how different our lives might have been if only we'd been born something better, like a wonderful horse instead of an ordinary camel. In the end, we all learn along with Harry that there's nothing better than just being yourself. Diane's Little Girl in the Moon looks down on earthbound children and wonders if they know she's just like them. A story of love, home, and the bond between mother and daughter, its powerful theme that we're each of us different yet all of us the same plants a seed in children that promises to blossom within a loving and trusting grown-up. Diane's new biography, Rise, recounts the experiences of her grandmother, Ruby, to reveal the hidden strength of the human spirit. Ruby's story inspires all of us to become the best versions of ourselves. You'll find all of Diane's delightful books and much more at dianefloydboehm.com. Visit dianefloydboehm.com. That's dianefloydboehm.com.
Hello and welcome back. We're so happy that you're here. You are watching Celebrate Great Britain Royally Rich Show. I'm here with my co-host. He is the man without a kilt, Mr. Al Cini. And the stars of our show, Ian Pelham Turner and Helena Chard, and our special guest, Simon MacDonald, who gave us a beautiful overview of his wardrobe today and the significance and importance of the Scottish kilt.
Okay, so can I start off, Simon, with some questions today? So
Yes.
the way I look at things is that Scottish businesses are going to need a few more Borbies in the sporrums, aren't they? There's going to be a big opening. They're going to need a big opening in Scotland. We're England having an opening, really about July 19th, around about that time. Is Scotland opening at the same time, do you think? And what do Scottish businesses really need right now, apart from tourism and business? Yeah, what do you think is really necessary?
Right. Yes, we will open up, but we're being a little bit more cautious about it. I think let's just see how things go, because the case numbers are still rising. And, England, I don't know, I think Boris Johnson's just opening the doors and asking for a lot of trouble there. The expression is us canny Scots, meaning us cautious Scots, very much to the fore in this, because we don't want things to get worse than they've been. We don't want it to get to the stage where there's then got to be another lockdown. Scotland's open for business just now. Tourists are flooding in. They're having a wonderful time. We've been blessed with some fantastic weather, in particular here on the West Coast. Edinburgh the other day, well, there was lovely television visions of them paddling around in Princes Street and trying to get up to top floors of shops to get out of the flooding. So they've had a real dose of rain there. But fortunately on the West Coast, we've been very, very lucky in having some beautiful, beautiful wall-to-wall sunshine.
Simon, you have, a little bird has told me, a fabulous new project that's coming up. I would love you to share that with us. And I know it's in Scotland and it's to do with food. It'd be great to hear what you're doing.
Yes, well, I'm passionate about food. I've worked with food for years, and particularly with fish, and been involved in the fisheries for over 40 years. Then processing and doing unusual foods and smoking foods, and that sort of then developed on into doing cookery shows and cookery demonstrations. Again, using unusual foods in unusual places, and a lot of television work came from that as well. So I've done all the regular morning shows like This Morning and Good Morning Britain and The Big Breakfast and all these sort of things. And so here's an opportunity rising now to showcase our wonderful food and our wonderful drink, and we've got plenty of both in stacks of quality as well. So we're going to be looking at Scotland on a plate and through the glass. And we're going to be doing a 6-part show and 6-part series on this, and looking at different dishes, traditional Scottish dishes, traditional Scottish drinks. It's not just all about whiskey here. We've got fantastic gins, we've got fantastic breweries. We've even got winemakers in Scotland as well. So there's a whole variety out there just waiting to be discovered and waiting to be shown to the world to say, this is us, this is what we have.
I think Scotland, I've been there twice. It's a beautiful country. It's wonderful food, which I don't think a lot of people outside of Scotland really understand and know. So thank you for filling us in, Simon, on that. And for people,
the thing with our food as well is that there's this very strong French influence in our food here. We make some fantastic brie in this country as well. Well, I mean, even haggis. Haggis was originally a French idea, and we've just developed it on that little bit further. So a big French influence here.
Haggis is the dish everybody thinks of, but there are so many other things to eat in Scotland besides haggis that the people really need to go and learn that. And I also want to say, as far as lockdowns are concerned, there's this Greek alphabet soup now of variants out there. None of them, every one of them is defended against by the vaccine. So, I did it. I'm not telling you to do it, but for people who are watching and listening, consider getting vaccinated. It will keep you safe, and then get on a plane and travel to the UK and visit Scotland. And Simon, for Americans who might have some money that they're looking to invest overseas, what does Scotland have to offer in the way of investment opportunities?
Me? No, I mean, there's Scotland, the world's your oyster. We've got a fantastic heritage of making things. Shipbuilding is one of the great industries of Scotland. There was a time when 1 in 5 ships sailing in the high seas was built on the Clyde. So we've got all that behind us. We're a very inventive crowd as well. The tires on your car, that was all invented by Dunlop. It's a Scotsman. Television, we wouldn't be here without it. Telephones, telewoman, no, I'll miss that one out. But we are a creative lot. Tourism here, the great thing here now is adventure tourism as well. And there are new adventure centres opening up all the time, and they are so busy. There's a whole wealth of industries, businesses, big and small, to invest in Scotland. Whatever we do it with a passion. We love it, we give out quality, and we do it to our best of our abilities.
Well, we know that's just looking at you, Simon.
I was going to say that.
You're too kind, sir. Your check's in the post.
Simon, first of all, thank you for being here and sharing about this new cooking show. It sounds absolutely fantastic. Where will people be able to watch this show?
I need to ask you that one.
right here,
yeah,
right here on this network.
That's out the bag now.
That's it. So as Al was talking about how beautiful Scotland is, and I've also heard that it's quite romantic, what are some of your favorite places to visit?
Well, my bed at night. But the West, I'm a great believer, West is best. There's some fabulous little inlets and sea lochs and the islands and so on. I mean, it's full of romanticism. I coined the phrase that the hills bow down to the sea, and it's very true. And you see the Scottish mountains and the way the cascade bow down in respect and awe of the sea. It's just a wonderful, wonderful part. One of my favourite villages, a little village called Arisaig on the west coast, between Fort William and Malig, and overlooking the small isles of Egg, Ram, Mac and Cana, and over to the Isle of Skye as well. Fantastic place. The people are wonderful. And I think you'll find in general, people in Scotland, they're very welcoming, very friendly. And if you stop to ask somebody directions, you'll get their whole life story, and probably invited back for dinner as well, if not down to the nearest pub.
Wonderful.
It sounds like a place that's definitely on my list when I go over to the UK next year in the spring. So I look forward to that.
Let me know when you come. Yeah, I'll show you around.
I definitely will. Thank you. Simon, what's the best way for people to get in touch with you, and who should reach out to you?
There we go. Along the bottom of the screen is going, it's going that way. There we are. And email address, macdonaldsimon@ymail.com. That's the easy way to get hold of me. Either that, or else when you're flying over the west coast of Scotland, just shout out the window, Simon, wait, and I'll be there.
And if people are looking for information about how to wear a kilt, can they reach out to you for that as well?
Absolutely, yes, indeed, they may do, and I will, put them in the right direction for which tartan they should actually be wearing. There's over 1,500 tartans out there, so plenty to choose from.
Yeah. I just ask a question. Are there many quilt makers left now? Because I remember when you go up Princess Street in Edinburgh, that was traditionally one of the ways of actually seeing a kilt or being able to get a kilt. But are there many kilt makers left?
There are. There's still there are enough, shall we say? It's the retail outlets that are the ones that have suffered through the pandemic. And we're all mourning the loss of Edinburgh Woolen Mill, which was a huge setup, and they had a great department for kilts and all the accoutrements to go with it. And sadly, their shops are all disappearing. As a pandemic casualty. It's very sad.
Just sad.
Simon, can I also ask one thing? I don't know anything about it. I read an article and it said about invasive pink salmon that are possibly trawling along to Scotland. I have no idea.
Say that one again.
Whether someone's pulling my leg. Oh, this is true.
Can I say I didn't give that information?
No. Is this true?
I'm very pleased your sound's starting to break up a little bit there. It sounds like a very difficult question to answer, this one.
Oh, I see. Is this a sort of little vulnerable topic or something?
No, I missed. I missed the crux of the question. I think it sounded fortunate that
it was to do with pink salmon.
Pink salmon.
Invasive pink salmon coming to Scotland. Why did I bring this up?
I don't know. It's not on the script.
I heard that it possibly invasive pink salmon, but never mind. We can swiftly move on.
Invasive pink salmon.
Invasive pink salmon, which are moving on to Scotland.
No, well, we've got plenty of salmon.
I'm a huge salmon fan. I could eat salmon every single day. I love smoked salmon. Last night I had salmon bites blackened. So good.
Yeah, I must admit, I do eat salmon just about every day. It's about the cheapest fish you can buy here now. And although there was a friend of mine who was in Harrods in London just recently, and he saw wild Scottish salmon at £265 a kilo. I thought, oh, right, okay. I think that'll sit in their shelf for a while. But fresh Scottish salmon, it's so abundant here now, and it's being farmed. And there's some fantastic, really top quality salmon farms around. I know salmon farming is getting a lot of bad press just now, but believe me, it's not all bad. There's some fantastic salmon out there, and it's so versatile. It's really good for you. We've got a new arrival to the family to announce. On the 19th of this month, we will be parents again. We're getting a little golden retriever puppy, which we're calling Isla. And Isla will be, she'll be 8 weeks old on the 19th, so we bring her home then. And she's going to live well on salmon, I can assure you. My last dog was a Springer Spaniel, and she actually lived till 4 days short of her 20th birthday.
Ooh.
And she had salmon every single day. Loved it.
Sounds great. Congratulations.
Well, thank you. It's nice to be a daddy again.
I was just going to ask, I love to eat salmon, as I mentioned, and I also love tuna, but I read that tuna, you shouldn't eat it every day because the mercury content, but is salmon okay to eat every day?
Absolutely, yes. But I mean, you're just careful what you eat each day. I mean, we have fish every single day, fish in some form or other. I've got to have my daily fish fix. Herring just now is abundant, and the omega-3 oils in herring is one of the best fish you could possibly eat. Mackerel are being caught now as well. Again, it's tremendous oily fish. It's mackerel, tuna, they are related, but the mackerel don't have the mercury content that you might find in tuna. But we're actually exploring just now the possibilities of a bluefin tuna fishery off the west of Scotland. So they are starting to put in quite a notable appearance in the West Coast now.
I'm thinking in human years, your dog lived to be 140.
Yeah.
So there's got to be something to the food there in Scotland for sure. If salmon is what you take every day. It's not a bad idea.
That's it. That and a little drop of whiskey. She loved her beer. We used to go out yacht racing on a Monday night, and then we'd all gather in the pub afterwards. And the pub knew that as soon as the dog ran through the door, they had a dish they put down with beer in it for her, and she was quite content. So there we are, smoked salmon and beer, and not keep the spaniel running forever.
That's a new one. I haven't heard of that. Well, Simon, it's been a pleasure having you here with us today.
It's been so lovely.
It's been so lovely to be back again as well. I feel I'm in friendly company. This is like being in the drawing room, the sitting room, just chatting with friends. It's a lovely, lovely show.
Oh, thank you.
It is. We're really happy to have you.
Even the people who ask about pink salmon.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. We'll probably read up about it now. It's taking over the whole of Scotland.
We'll all be out now looking for pink salmon. Outside the pub at night, you sometimes see pink elephants.
I see one now out on the bay. Hi.
Oh dear. What have you been having for lunch?
Just salmon.
Oh, well, there we go.
Well, thank you again. It's been a pleasure having you, and we'll look forward to having you right back here on this platform very soon.
Excellent. Really looking forward to it. And counting the sleeps, as they say.
Thanks, Simon.
Thank you, Simon. Bye-bye. Bye.
Well, there we go. More about salmon and the thought
Am I going to live this down?
And the thought that some pink salmon are swinging the wrong way up the histories of the hills of Scotland is enough to put the fear of God up anyone.
I guess you can't go fishing in a kilt, that's for sure. That wouldn't. I think, Helena, we've got a wonderful video clip that is for the debutantes at Paradise. Do you want to tee that up for us?
So fabulous. I'm so glad we've got to play this. So we have our wonderful Victoria, who is our Welsh correspondent, who features in this, fabulous, and also with her sister, but also with guest vocals from Andy Fairweather. And black and white footage is in there from Amen Corner, and they had a #1 hit with this in 1969. It's fabulous. It's absolutely fabulous.
And I'm the only one that remembers this.
Wonderful.
All right, let's take a look, shall we?
That was great.
Wow. That was so much fun to make, right? That is so beautiful. What beautiful atmosphere, song.
So feel good. It's wonderful. So that's Victoria and Lavinia. I just, wow. To me, it just takes me somewhere else. It's just this really feel good, fantastic thing. I think we all want and need at this moment. So thank you to them.
It's
their manager.
For me, it's a little musical time machine back to 1968 and the Summer of Love. It's beautiful.
Absolutely. And it takes me back because just about the time that was actually the first time out, and it went to #1 in Britain, that song. I had found out that I passed all my qualifications in journalism the same week as it came out.
Oh, amazing.
How lovely is that?
And so it's a great memory. And they really were. I mean, but those two are marvellous, aren't they?
They really are.
Bring so much joy to everyone. You know, and we're so pleased to be able to put this out on American TV as well. Because they're fabulous, those two. They really are.
Beautiful piece. Really nice.
Thank you for sharing that with us. That's really uplifting.
Yeah, we're excited too.
Absolutely.
Ian's having a little tear going on here.
Well, it's going down.
Happy.
I mean, for me, it's going down memory lane because, believe it or not, I was a hippie. And I think I've said to you before that the very first time the second time I visited America, the first time I visited America, I went to Hawaii. And I really had a great time. But the first time I could get to San Francisco, I went to San Francisco. And I had a great week there as well. So I like the West Coast. I also like the East Coast at the same time. I love America. We love it.
America loves you. And
They love you back.
for one of our future shows, we'd love to see you in maybe your hippie garb.
Well,
That-
well
I'm not too sure whether you. What's your idea of hippie girl?
there's very few things that can make me speechless, and that was just one of them.
I put mine on, but that was 50 pounds ago.
Yeah, absolutely. You didn't have to say that aloud, did you? So anyway, I think we're going to go on now to our second guest. This lady first came to my attention when she did the tango and really some South American dancing. Nothing to do with what she does right now. And she was a dancer with Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Woo!
Yeah.
Hear more about that.
Absolutely. And so this is Susie Nathanson, who I think is one of the best artists around London today. So perhaps Susie would like to come on.
Welcome, Susie.
Hello, thanks for having me. Thanks for that introduction, Ian. And it's salsa dancing, not a tango, but I would like to try tango.
You know, I always get it wrong, don't I? Because I think
I love it though. Can't continue getting it wrong. It's lovely.
So you were dancing with Doctor Who. I would love to see a clip of that.
And I'll maybe a little bit later I'll tell you a bit more, but the dancing is starting to come more and more into my painting as well. So they are connected, but very much so.
And it was filmed. It was filmed. So it was one of my other British shows.
Yeah.
So perhaps we need to sort of sort that out, and we can show Doctor Who making his move sometime.
That I want to see.
Anyway, back to the present time. It's one of these afternoons. I've become all nostalgic. It
was a happy day. It was a happy day.
Susie, you are the most incredible artist. The work that you create is so realistic. So how did you first start? How did all this really come about in the first place?
I suppose I was born into it really, because my family is incredibly passionate about painting and drawing and art. My father was an art consultant, and my mother is an artist. So literally our house was surrounded by paintings, and my bedroom actually ended up becoming the storage room for the overspill. So I had a bit of problem with dust at that point in time, but it was I was very much surrounded, and it became very familiar to me from an early age. And I think perhaps because of the fact that I did struggle with writing and reading at school when I was younger, I naturally just gravitated toward painting and drawing as a way to express myself. So I emotionally engaged with it very early on. And then gradually, I obviously with mum being an artist, she got me holding the paintbrushes and pencils very, very early on, and I started that journey. And then weaving in actually to the Scottish element, I did go and study art up in Scotland, in Edinburgh, and I was at the art college, but also at the university, where I not only studied the practice of art, but also the history and just working, looking at art from a multitude of different levels and perspectives. So it really grounded me in it from all sorts of angles. And then the realism, in terms of that, I think it's just, I get so absorbed in the subject, and I just want to do faith and justice to what it is I'm seeing. So I find in particular with animals, the animal portraits I've been doing recently, all the textures and the movement of the fur, I get lost in it. It takes me on a complete journey, and it's a wonderful thing to just see gradually the paintings are becoming more and more vibrant and three-dimensional, which it's this thing of knowing when to stop. But having said that, and going back to what you said earlier about this being quite a historic day for the UK with England playing in the semis, I did just do a post on my Instagram feed, which was a new painting that I experimented with, celebrating Harry Kane, who did this extraordinary goal, or 2 goals that got us through to the semis today. So that was in the match they played with the Ukraine team on Saturday. So I did a very loose painting celebrating him, a portrait of him, and that's a lot looser than my other work. So I think there's a range of different moods that you can create depending on the level of detail you really go for.
Susie, I absolutely love the fact that you have painted Harry Kane.
He was a great face to paint.
But I haven't seen it, but I really look forward to seeing that. I absolutely love your work. I do. I think it's amazing. I just think your business head, everything is perfect. For me, you have got lots of different styles, and you're great at everything. But is there one thing that you really enjoy above everything?
I think so for those of you meeting me for the first time, just to explain, I do paint quite a lot of different things. I paint people, I paint animals, I paint treasured objects, often vintage toy inspired. But what unites all of them, or my approach to all of them, I should say, is the story. And what I try to do with my artworks is to get at the story behind the subject and really try and express it in my painting. But I'd say of all of the things I do paint, the things that allow me to really go to town on the story are the things I perhaps enjoy the most. And so working certainly with subjects like performers and salsa dancers, which leads me back into what I was saying earlier. I've been doing quite a lot of paintings of dancers and of street characters and performers. I think you might have a couple of them you might be able to show, of just a couple dancing and a man playing a little ukulele and another man with a guitar with a kilt. This is a couple that I painted recently who are in the midst of dance. And what I was trying to do there is really evoke that sense of what it feels like to dance. And obviously being a dancer or having experienced dance myself, I was coming to it from the inside perspective, and I was trying to visually express that idea of that dialogue between the dancers and their dialogue with the music. So it was a really wonderful kind of way of trying to evoke a sense of mood and that experience.
Susie, that is so realistic looking. It looks like it's a photograph. It's amazing.
What I'm trying to do with all my paintings is show time lapses of how they evolve, just so that people can come with me on that journey and sort of understand my working process to see how the image builds up. But usually I start with a really loose line sketch and then add in blocks of color and tone, and then it gradually refines into detail. The trick is not getting too sucked into detail too early on. It comes with time and naturally. So yeah, it does end up becoming quite realistic in the end.
Even the way her hair looks, like she's moving, she's in motion. And the detail in the hands and the braid, it's just outstanding.
Super.
I could look at it forever. Sorry.
Really glad. Glad it resonates.
Well done.
Excellent.
So, I mean, talking about, how long does it take to? No, actually, no. Hey, we've got some.
I think we've got some other pictures if we want to put any.
I can we can scroll through them, and also this was relating back to the Scottish theme. This is a character that I saw in Scotland. So I was obviously based up there for 5 years with the studies I was doing, and he was a very frequent persona on the streets of Edinburgh, especially during the Edinburgh Festival. And that's a really good example of, for example, the idea of what inspires me in things. I often am very inspired by certain characters that I encounter, and with this particular one, weave my own story in around him. I do have other artworks where I am very much kind of in active dialogue with the subject. So I have a couple of portraits, I think, which you might have there. One is of an extraordinary lady who I had the pleasure. This is Dr. Anne-Marie Imafidon, who is quite a pioneering lady in British tech, and she's doing a lot of really good work inspiring and encouraging young girls into the STEM industries. And I did a lovely interview with her, and this was a sort of a painted version of that interview, where we talked about a lot of things that had inspired her, the people and characters she was influenced by, and certain key dates and moments in her life, which I was able to visualize in different symbols and really weave into a painting that was not only a portrayal of her, but also her story. So I'm really interested in this idea of active dialogues between the subject and myself, and how together we can create something that neither of us could have done on our own. So I sort of put my skills at their disposal, and they give me the ideas that trigger the imagery that I use within the painting.
They're lovely.
And then this one was a little boy called Huey, and it was a really affecting commission that I did for a young parents. This is their first child, and we talked a lot about the story behind the story surrounding his birth and what was special to him. And obviously he's still very young, so there's a lot to emerge and explore. But this idea of the fact that he's holding a rose, which was a symbol of the hospital that he was born in, and the stars that he's surrounded by come from a painting in their home, which means a lot to the mother, but also it relates to the song that they sing him before bedtime, Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. And then the little Freddy Firefly that goes around with him everywhere, which is his favorite toy. And then the whole thing just became this idea of Huey the explorer, sort of out to kind of conquer the world with his curiosity. So all of that, again, very much inspired by this to and fro between me and them, and together creating something completely unique and special to them, which is great.
You help create beautiful memories for people that they'll have the rest of their lives. That's incredible.
That's certainly what my aim is, yes.
And I wonder, Susie, two things. I know you've shown both in London and New York, so I wonder, first of all, from that, are they two different audiences in the first place? So do you find that New Yorkers have a preference for a particular style? And going on from that as well is what does inspire you a lot of the time. Is it the person, first of all? Is it the story behind the person? Or is it just something that you aesthetically want to paint?
Gosh, lots of questions within a question. I would say, first of all, with the New York and comparison between the New York and London audiences, I'd say that's something I'm still exploring and sort of observing. I think the New York audience definitely engage with the more narrative artworks that I create, which is great. But I would say, like, whoever's watching, if you're from New York or anywhere in America, do get in touch and let me know what you think, because it's an ongoing kind of research of mine. I'm always open and interested to hear what people have to say and what resonates with them in particular. And then in relation to what inspires me, it's all those things, Ian. It's sometimes I see something which triggers a whole load of things in my mind that connects with experiences I've had. So I think there's a painting of a still life I did, which is of a series of vintage toys. There's a ballerina on an elephant that's on a bus. I don't know if you've got that one there to bring up, but for that example, I had this idea that was triggered by the objects themselves, which were these vintage toys which have a history and a kind of a beauty of their own, which I really wanted to paint. But then I had this idea of this concept of not seeing where you're going, but knowing where you're going, and this notion of self-belief. So I use the toys as an allegory, and the painting behind me as well is another allegory. So I often use vintage toys within a still life to tell a story. But then more and more, now that I've been having these discussions with clients and taking on commissions, I am really inspired by all the stories behind the subjects in question. And I've been doing a lot of animal portraits recently, and the stories behind what those animals mean to their owners is really beautiful, and I'm very moved by them. So it really comes from all sorts of places, and so it's very hard to kind of lock it down as one thing, I suppose.
I absolutely love, Susie, that you have this storytelling element in your art. I find that fascinating. I love it. It's wonderful. I love the fact that you've shown here in the UK as well as in New York, which is super. But also, I think you've got a gallery here in the UK, if I'm right.
So yeah, you're referring to something which is not a gallery in a conventional sense, because it's something that was a business that was started up by my father, who, as I mentioned, was an art consultant, and he began this business in the 1970s, way back in the day. And he specialised in late 19th century and 20th century art, and his work was really about working with private clients to research, promote and sell artworks, but also working with institutions to exhibit artworks and shed new light on the artworks in question. So, for example, there was an exhibition in New York in 2017 at the Jewish Museum called Modigliani Unmasked, and we were involved in securing the loans of over 100 of the drawings that were exhibited in that show. But my father passed away in 2018, and so I've been working with him sort of leading up to that, and when he passed away, we decided to keep elements of it going, because he lived and breathed what he did, and it was very much part of the family. So we decided there were a few projects that were particularly special that we would continue, and those projects again relate to working with a select group of private clients, continuing dialogues with museums. We've got a show that we've helped organise the loan of works for in Vienna at the Albertina Museum, that's coming up hopefully in September, if everything opens up and is allowed to go ahead, which is another Modigliani, but this time with Picasso, which should be a fantastic exhibition comparing their approach to certain themes. And then we were also working with an estate of an artist, a Dutch-born artist, but effectively a British artist who lived in the UK for most of his life in the 20th century, called Albert Houthusen, and we've been working to create a digital catalogue resume of his work. So it's quite research orientated, and certainly it's another kind of angle to sort of explore.
Susie, maybe you can tell us a little bit about the business of art. Are you seeing trends in your commissions and in your gallery, or are things changing?
I've certainly, I mean, obviously, as you've just seen, I wear different hats, and I've sort of, as someone who creates art and sells it, and with my artist hat on, I'd say over the last year, things have shifted more and more online, and I think the trend is that more people are engaging and buying art online as they've compared to how they have before. I think it's a growing trend, and I certainly have found that I am engaging more with people online, and for instance, traditionally with bricks and mortar exhibitions, you'd only be seeing people in a limited capacity, whereas now you can regularly reach out to them on Instagram or Facebook, and you're really able to kind of communicate on a regular basis.
Susie, when I look at your work, there's such detail there. I'm wondering how long it must take to create a piece. To me, it would take like a century. But I think we also have a clip on this. But how long does it take you to create one piece?
So it depends on the medium I'm using, and I specialise in two mediums, so oil on canvas painting and digital painting. And there is a clip that if you want to quickly run, it just shows my setup for both, which gives you an insight into the process for both.
Yeah, let's take a look at that. It was really interesting. Wow. Oh my gosh.
You make it look so easy.
Summing that up, so you can see, well, everything, I know when you splice it together and speed it up, it looks super quick. But yeah, for oil paintings, usually it's minimum of 3 months, because you've got drying time in between, and it's a much more physical process. So depending also on the scale, it just takes more to create. The digital painting, there are no stoppage times within it, so you can just keep going till you're done. And usually it takes me a couple of days to create a painting. So yeah, that's the difference.
Fabulous. We've got a comment here from Philip Chan. Hi, Philip. Good to have you in the house. Okay. Susan, we also have another video, a painting case study.
Yeah, that just gives you the full rundown of how a digital painting commission works, because I think digital painting is quite a new thing for a lot of people. So this explains it.
Shall we take a look at it?
Yeah, go for it.
All right.
Today, I'm showing the journey of a digital painting from its on-screen beginning to its physically printed end, using my portrait of the very handsome Rupert. First, I find out about the subject and their character for me to get a sense of their spirit and story. Then image references are discussed, where I give a helpful guide on what is needed. Once everything's agreed, I get going, sketching out the rough elements of the subject and blocking in the detail. When finished, a digital image is sent for approval, and once approved, I advise on and, if requested, organise the professional printing and framing of the artwork. Here I show you a 30 by 30 centimetre professionally printed example of my Rupert portrait, printed using high-quality inkjet inks on premium-grade archival art paper. This is the larger final version, and here it is framed in situ in Rupert's home. Thanks for watching, and please feel free to get in touch with any questions or commission inquiries.
Brilliant.
Really nice.
Right.
Amazing result.
And it's also just allows a lot more flexibility. So say someone in America orders something or orders a commission. You've got the technology to have a face-to-face dialogue with them, which is wonderful through Zoom and StreamYard and all sorts of things. And then because I use a printer with a global network, it allows me to organize the printing and framing of it in the country of origin. So someone in America could have it printed and framed in America and sent directly to them. So everything just becomes quite simplified in a lovely way, logistically.
What do you think is the most unusual subject you've ever been asked to create?
What's the most unusual subject? It's a good question. I suppose a lovely one that I did recently was a lady who wanted toys that symbolised the cities and countries she'd lived in. So we had a New York taxi, we had the London taxi, we had a Scotsman because Scotland was one of the places that she lived, and we also had a camel. Because I think it was Dubai actually that she was mentioning. So we had her travelling life sort of symbolised by a series of toy still lives, which was a lovely thing.
Great. Susie, it looks like I'm commissioning you.
Yes.
All I can say is there's going to have to be a couple of Photoshop steps in.
Susie, we've got some other images of yours, and I'm just wondering if any of these or something else is your favorite, and if so, which one is it? So I'm going to bring up just the other ones that we have here.
Absolutely. That was the one I was mentioning earlier about knowing where you're going, but not seeing where you're going.
Yes, it's really fantastic. Okay, and then we have this one.
And that was a recent portrait I did of a lovely dog called Jed, who also came from Scotland. He used to herd in sheep, but now has retired to Devon. So again, that was an extraordinary exploration of fur and texture and those extraordinary eyes he has as well.
It's absolutely stunning. I love how you set it off with the red background.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what values does art give you personally?
I think from a very early age, it's been the medium through which I've explored and understood the world around me. It's how I celebrate the things that move and inspire me. And increasingly also, it's how I'm able to kind of have those dialogues with people to help portray the things that are meaningful to them. And that's been a really rewarding thing, because I think fundamentally artworks are the things that connect us with what is important, and they're the things that you can have on your wall that allow you to almost visually meditate on the things that are special to you, that uplift you on a daily basis. And I think they just make you see the world in a more emotionally engaged way, all of which roots us in our humanity, which I think can only be a good thing. So yeah, these are all the things that come to mind.
I can only imagine. My only experience in painting is paint by numbers, and I have to say that even just doing that, it really takes you away from everything in the world, and you're just so focused on what you're doing. It's just so relaxing.
Definitely. And that's exactly how I feel when I paint. You are in a meditative space, which is wonderful.
Here comes another art challenge from Phil. Philip, I think, is going past tea time. He's going beyond tea time, and he's into Scotch whiskey.
I actually really enjoy doing that. Definitely be in touch about that.
And I think I was just going to clear up something earlier, because Susie was talking about Harry Kane, Now, to our American viewers, they may not know who Harry Kane is.
Yeah.
Harry Kane is the captain of our soccer team in England. And so he's the one that actually scored 2 of the goals, or helped to score the goals, that has got us through to the semi-final tonight. Just in case anybody wonders who Harry Kane is in America, that's the reason why he's being personified and beautified. There's not such a word, but in your painting.
Well, we wish him well. There's a lot of pressure on him, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there is. Yep. It goes out 8:00 tonight, UK time. Is the start of the match. So and London is filling up. People right now, all wearing their soccer outfits, ready for the match tonight.
Well, we're cheering you on. We wish you well.
Definitely.
Susie, it sounds to me from what we were just discussing that people can work with you anywhere in the world.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. And all we need to do, all it begins with is just getting in touch and telling me about the story that they want me to paint. And I've got a series of questions that I ask that really kind of make it easy for people and start to help them identify how we do that. So yeah.
Sounds like you have kind of like a one-on-one coaching session with them, and you really understand what it is that they want your art to express. And I think that's fantastic. That's a very different approach than someone sends you a picture and you just go, okay, I'll just, you're putting your heart into it, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely.
So for people who are on the radio who can't read the batter going across, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
A couple of ways. They can message me on Instagram if that's easiest for them. I'm at Susie Nathanson, SUSIENATHANSON, and my website, which is www.susannanathanson.co.uk, and that has a lot of information about my commission service and how it all works. So I'm very dedicated to trying to make it as accessible and easy as possible. So that's hopefully of help.
Yes, that's rather exciting. Thank you. Does anyone have any other questions or comments?
I was just going to ask, do you have an ambition that hasn't been fulfilled yet in art?
A personal one, yes. I have quite a large canvas in my studio that has been a work in progress for a long time. It's a very personal painting, and it's huge, and it's got a lot of figures in it, and it is a storytelling fairy tale of my own creation, and I really want to finish it. And I think when I do, it might very much open the way to doing more works like that. So I am ambitious with where I want to take my artwork, and I think there are so many different levels to explore, but yeah, it always comes back to the story, always.
I was quickly looking through your website, and I hope all the people who are watching and listening will visit your website. It's beautiful. And I have to tell you, go and look at the website, and after that, Susie will be too busy to finish that painting.
Thank you, Al.
You're going to have to prioritize all the requests that you're getting. So that's fantastic. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure having you here today. We wish you continued success, and thank you again for sharing those videos. That was really helpful. I never saw anything like that before. A lot of great information, and also some of your beautiful pieces.
Thank you very much, Jacalyn. Lovely to be here.
Thank you. We'll see you again.
All the very best.
Bye-bye.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did that happen? It's amazing. You've brought a number of people here, Ian and Helena, who all are able to express themselves through creative ways. And I think that's really inspiring. And hopefully our audience is realizing that there are different ways to get your feelings out there, to share whatever it is you have inside of you, especially when we think about mental health awareness, that there are so many ways like painting or drawing that really can help you channel what it is you're feeling.
And I think in Britain, but it's the same in America as well. We are a planet of creatives. In America, you've got some of the most creative people in this world, and I think in Britain, we have some great people at the same time. And being able to actually do what we're doing now. I go back to 1969 again, okay, and 68 when that Andy Fairweather Low and the Debutantes video was first thought through. And the technology we're using now was never even thought of at that time. And so how we've actually come on as a planet to actually develop communication systems and creative systems is nothing short of magic, I think. And to be able to really build bridges between our two countries is nothing short of fabulous.
Well said.
Collaboration.
Absolutely. And the sharing of ideas across the ocean, I think it's wonderful. And Susie's certainly an excellent example of that. And, you mentioned too, Dr. Jacalyn, that sometimes it's therapeutic to express yourself artistically. If Jackson Pollock could do it, anybody could do it.
Well, I want to mention just with Simon that, you can express yourself through your cooking, right? Through your, how you entertain people, that's also a way of expressing what's inside of you.
I think everybody has got a way of communicating, and it's just finding that way and developing it as well. And I think, with art and with, the types of projects that Helena works with as well, they're all to do with really good forms of communication.
Yeah, it's not even so much communication. Yes, of course it's communication, but it's finding your creative flow. Your creative flow, and you just let go is your place of happiness. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be your painting, your artwork, it could be gardening. There's so many different varieties of building places, and it's so important, as you say, Dr. Jacalyn, for your mental health and physical health. It's just
Yes.
the whole, and I find it exciting. It's a show in itself, isn't it? Definitely.
It definitely is. I think as we close out, it'll be interesting just to go around and talk about what is a creative outlet that you have that people might not be aware of. Like, so for example, I love to do flower arrangements. Like, I love to cut off the stems and arrange them in certain ways. So what about you, Al?
I paint.
Oh, how about that?
As it turns out, I do. And it's I don't do it as much as I'd like. There are too many other things to do. This is fun too, but I paint.
Would you share some of your work with us on a future show? That would be lovely.
I might just do that. It's possible. I could.
Wow.
I know there's a piece hanging not too far from here, but the program's almost over. But yeah, for sure, happy to do that.
Really great.
I just wondered, have you painted the cat?
I have not painted the cat. She won't hold still long enough. The only time she moves is when I try to paint.
Al, what kind of painting do you do? Is it oil painting or what is it?
It's an oil paint. You want me to go get it?
Yes, we would love for you to go get it. Go get it.
Turn my camera off. I'll go do it.
All right, I'm going to talk to Helen and Anna. Okay. So, what about you two? What are your creative outlets?
Oh, goodness, do you want to start? I'll start. Hey. I have a few creative outlets. I get very excited talking about things like this. I mean, obviously, photography is one of my creative outlets. Just being out and about in nature, to me, is the best thing in the world. Or even my gardening, just, feet on the grass, just simplicity. I just love that, the simple feeling of the air and breathing and various things. I actually love painting. I'm quite a creative god. In fact, I love doing everything. I'm one of these people that I'm like, yes, I want to try this, and I just love embracing everything. And I could go on and on and on. I'll pass it over to Ian now. To be kind.
I think my creativity is coming up and working with people. Yesterday I had such a special day. As you know, a couple of weeks ago we had Landry on, the artist. And yesterday I was working with some of his students for 4 hours. In reality, we'll be bringing some of these young people on to shows in the future as well. And they were so enthusiastic, so optimistic about their lives and their journeys, and to be able to help them and just give them a little bit of advice or creativity from my perspective as well. For me, that gives me the biggest amount of pleasure, is to actually help young people, give them the advice that can perhaps really elevate them a little bit more, and then bring them onto shows like this that will really excite them, first of all, and really give them the type of benefits that will start seeing their work in America at the same time.
It's brilliant. I love that. Fantastic. And guess who's back without his kilt, but with his painting? Woo! Hold on, let me spotlight you.
Very
Wow! Look at that! Woo!
The roof of my old building in New York.
Really?
That's really
Wow, Al, you're really talented.
I call it the tanks I get.
Al, that is really good. How long did it take you to do that?
Probably 6 weeks.
Fantastic.
Just correcting mistakes.
gosh.
And I have to also say that my work looks best in low light. Fortunately, the light is a little dim here, so it looks much better, I think, in this light.
Fabulous. Isn't it
Philip
like
is loving it too.
finding out all those little things about each other? It's
I
really-
know, it's so interesting. I never would have guessed that about you.
You wouldn't have? Well,
No, because I don't see you having time. Like, I don't know, like you are creative in a lot of ways, with your producing and editing, and I guess that's a natural.
I do things every now and then until I get bored, and then I stop. I sailed a couple of times. I jumped out of an airplane once. I painted a couple of pictures. That's kind of me.
Did you paint the pictures while you were jumping out of the airplane?
And that would have been a chore.
That's outstanding. Really good.
Don't you
Thank
think
you.
that creative people, though, I find I've got a low boredom threshold, at times, and so creativity is for me is something that is very, very important. I can see it with you, Dr. Jacalyn, what you're creating, and I can see it in Al as well. He's a much deeper thinker,
Yes.
and I can see that at the same time. And it's fabulous to have afternoons like this where we can actually talk about creativity. And you know what? It's positive. That's what we need in this world. Positive.
It is.
It's
It's a much better use of your time than most of the things you do. And, and it's an easy right turn to make in anybody's life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
very true. Well, this has been another fantastic show with two brilliant guests. Thank you. And it's nice getting to know everybody a little bit more. And it's been
Great
fun.
doing this program. It's fun for me.
And good luck with the new title as well. The new.
My kilt is at the cleaners.
And we do expect, Sir Alfred, that the kilt comes out of the cleaners sometime in the future.
Who knows, every week it's going to be mentioned.
We're going to keep bringing it up.
I'm thinking next week I'm a Viscount.
You've got a choice. It's either the kilt or the cat.
Great.
Wonderful. Well, Ian and Helena, it's such a pleasure seeing you. And again, you brought us Simon and Susie, two fabulous guests, two beautiful people who are just sharing their love with the world. So it was a pleasure having them and also seeing you guys again.
Thanks.
Great program. And great seeing you, Ian and Helena.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great seeing you
Love
guys
you
too. You're fabulous.
Thank you. All right. Thank you. We'll talk to you after the show.
Okay. Have a
Okay.
good
Mr. Cini, I am always blown away. Always blown away. Let's see that
Yeah.
picture again, please. Do you have it right there?
Yeah, I do. You want to see it again?
Yeah, let's see it again. I'm
Okay.
gonna spot you. Wow. Absolutely beautiful. So this is in New York.
A lot more detail than I'm normally accustomed to. So it was a little bit of a challenge for me. It was fun. It was fun to do. And it was an interesting kind of a fun off-center subject. So, and it stood still. It didn't move the whole time.
Well, thank you again for sharing that. That is really nice to have a peel back the onion and get a little bit more
There you
Al
go.
Cini. We want more Al Cini.
Yeah. Onion is probably a good analogy. Thank you, Dr. Jack.
Well, that's what we say in coaching. We want to peel back the onion
I
to the
know.
layers,
Yeah.
You know.
Thank you.
So before we end the show, I'm going to spotlight you. How can people get in touch with you and tell us about the work you're doing at BCAT?
We align the people in your organization with your purpose. We have a scientific method for that. There's an intervention that tightens that alignment and engages people in the work they do for you. And as a result of that, you get better productivity and more work satisfaction, and your organization, your company starts to feel more like a family. So I can be reached at al.cini@getbcat.com. Love doing this kind of work and would love to do some of it for you.
And you're also over on LinkedIn. People can find you there too, right?
I am Al Cini, and I think I'm the only one. As far as I know, there may be a couple more, but I'm easy to find.
You're the only Al Cini to me. There's no other Al Cini. That's it. It's just you. So.
Nice to meet you, sir.
All right. Well, thank you again for being here. I'm going to look forward to seeing you shortly when our guest is Jeremy Kirkis on The Business Show. That's at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, which is 7 p.m. British Summer Time.
That'll be fun. Looking forward to it.
All right. I'll see you again soon, Al.
Thanks, Doc.
Thank you. Bye. Wow, another fabulous show with people from around the world who are just changing lives, just putting out so much positive energy. Thank you to Simon and Susie, Ian and Helena, and Al for being here. I just want to review our shows coming up. At noon, we have the Underdog Show, and Ben Shai is on holiday today. So Ralph Graves Jr. is stepping in as the co-host, and our guest is Byron Khan Izzy, I think. I hope I said that right. Then we have our celebrity psychic and audience with Gemma, and our guest or guests are not to be named. She doesn't know anything about who is or is not going to be on the show, and I'm certainly not going to tell you right now. You'll have to tune in. That's at 1 o'clock Eastern Time, which is 6 o'clock British Summer Time. And then we close out the day with two more shows: A Better You, lessons from the best coaches, consultants, and trusted advisors. And today we have expert Red O'Loughlin. And finally, at 5 p.m., we have In the Name of Love. This is 10 p.m. British Summer Time. And my guest is Caroline Heward. So we look forward to that. Also, please do go and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Let's see if I can get it right this time. The name of our channel is USA Global TV. So please do subscribe so you can watch all of our shows there, and you can go watch this one from the beginning. You definitely want to see that beautiful artwork. You don't want to miss that kilt, because where are you going to see a man like Simon? He's so phenomenal. He's one of a kind, and he's wearing a kilt. So do go back over and watch the show again. Thank you again for being here. We look forward to seeing you right after this. Have a great rest of your day, and we really do appreciate your loyalty and support.